You don't be able to see your legs.
Okay, let me see. So if you can.
Yes. Okay, I'm on. I'm on now.
Hello.
Hello, doctor. How are you?
I'm good, and you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Almost everything went wrong today. So
I can imagine. I can
well,
imagine.
it's the first broadcast for the year. So
Happy
anyway,
New Year. All
happy
the
New
very
Year to you
best.
too.
All the
Yes,
very
thank you.
best of
I
the
wish you the
year.
very same. I wish you the very same. Thank you
Thank
so much for taking
Thank you
time
so
out.
much.
Yes, yes, thank you.
Thank you,
So,
sir.
yeah, my pleasure. Okay, so I think we just start straight off. And people, I'm sorry that we're starting a little bit late. I'm sure we'll make up for it. Today's episode, well, maybe before I even start, let me wish all our viewers a happy new year, since this is our first episode for the year. And we're discussing something very important, a guide to having your baby in 2026.
Sure.
Let me start straight off and introduce Mrs. Akinyode. She's one of the people that have gone through the treatment, so she's going to be sharing her experience with us, and she has a very interesting experience. So she'll be sharing some experience with us, and then, but we also, one of the things we want to say straight off is that today's discussion, it's not about pressure. We're not trying to pressure anybody, but it's about clarity. Okay? We're focusing on women who are trying to conceive and want practical plans for 2026. Whether you're just starting, whether you have been trying for a while, or you had a failed cycle, or more than one, or you're just considering IVF for the first time, or even egg freezing. This, I think you just sit down and listen, and then. But before we go further, one thing I want to say is that people who are listening to us should not forget to drop their questions in the comment section, as all questions will be attended to. And then also, before I go on, also, before this gets mixed up, if you're in this category of women that we mentioned, one very important health tip is that you should, if you are trying to conceive in 2026, you should start using folic acid, 400 micrograms per day. I think that's a very small thing that has very big effect, especially on the future baby that you are planning for, babies. So let's start again and say, if you are aiming for natural conception, we should not forget the importance of regular and protected intercourse. Okay?
Definitely.
Yeah, exactly. So if however this is not possible, maybe for logistic reasons, time intercourse using ovulation prediction kits can be used. Okay. Other methods like cervical mucus tracking and basal body temperature are second best to ovulation prediction kits right now, especially that these are over-the-counter kits that you can buy. One should remember that conception can only take place for 6 days in a cycle, 5 days before the day of ovulation and the day of ovulation. So it's important to be able to track ovulation. One of the other things that we're going to want to achieve in this episode is we want people to understand their timelines and also have realistic expectations for treatment. And again, one thing that we don't pay attention enough to in Nigeria is mental and emotional readiness.
Sure, doctor.
Thank you. So yes, we're going to also remind our people to pay attention to that. We are human beings and we have elastic limits. So, definitely. So we see some people, even after they've had their babies, they stretch beyond the elastic limit. So it's important for you to be mentally and emotionally ready for treatment. So if you are listening to us, prompt yes. If you're about to start your first IVF cycle, just say yes to us. And if you drop a love sign, if you have had a failed cycle or you've been trying for over 1 year. So before I go any further, I think I would like you to give us a little bit a background about yourself, and then we take it from there before we go any further.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be part of today's topic on how to achieve your baby. My name is Seyilogo, and to anyone watching us and thinking that your dream of being a parent is slipping away, I see you. I actually see you. I see you, and I really want to tell you that my journey to motherhood wasn't an easy one. It wasn't an easy one at all. It was actually an 11-chapter story. 11-chapter story in the sense that it took me 10 failed IVF before I was finally able to get my miracle baby with the help of the team at Nordica. So I can assure you that this journey isn't for the faint-hearted. And another thing I want to tell you is it's not just about having an IVF. IVF, I can say, is based on faith and science. It's not just you going into the hospital, just spending money or probably thinking you're getting it together. You need the very right environment. You have to be able to partner with a kind of hospital that will be able to help you, that will be able to, guide you into your own personalized care, not just going into an hospital, because I can tell you it's well saturated now. Like almost all the hospitals now. When I started the journey, there were a few, but I can say everybody's now doing IVF. And to think I was actually at Nordica 2017 after my first failed one, and I never went back. I got to know about the place through my immediate sister's sister-in-law, and she actually gave me the number for Mrs. Ajayi, that the doctor's wife. I spoke with her. She gave me an appointment. I went there, and I never went back. By the time I was going to go back to Nordica, I just had another failed one. I'm proud to that. There's this very good niece of mine. I will call her my niece. She's actually my elder sister's elder friend's niece. She told me, she said, Auntie Sheyi, have you thought about Nordica again? And I'm like, I've been there once. She said, I've been telling you about this hospital. And to really be honest with you, after my failed one, that was 2024 March, normally when I had a failed one like that, it would take me months to even come out of because your mental health, everything would have been affected. And I can tell you, it was a journey on me. It really took a toll on my health. But this particular time, as soon as I saw the negative, I think after 3 days, I had my bath and I didn't even call. I just went straight to Nordica at Ikoyi. I booked the consultation. I can remember my first time of meeting my consultant. It wasn't about me just going for the cycle. It was about taking care of me first. So that really wowed me. Because, doctor, I must tell you that the only thing I probably wouldn't know about IVF would be the retriever and
And
the
the transfer.
transfer. Every other thing, I can tell you, I'm a pro. So I was already expecting the norms, the usual thing. But she wasn't telling me that. That was Dr. Obi. She wasn't even telling me that, doctor. She was just on about, I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't think we can do it right away. We have to go through all the, she needed to see why I was having the past failure, which was really important to me. I think she got my attention with that. And I was relaxed. I was so relaxed. At that time, I knew I was in the right place. And talking about empathy, I think they really have it there at Nordica. I'm not patronizing you, to be honest, because I've had it done in all the best places. So it's not about me having to patronize, okay, Nordica is this, not, but I felt peace when I started my journey with Nordica. I had peace, all the nurses, the doctors, even down to the receptionists, they were fantastic. They had empathy. And I can remember my first going for the hysteroscopy. I can remember when she said, you were going to do it. I said, I've had it done before. I was so eager to tell her that I've had all the things done. Anyway, I think I will leave it to you to continue.
Thank you so much. Yes, I think you've said so many important things with that patients need to pay particular attention to. Like you said now, one of the things that we see in the industry is that there's so much fragmentation.
It's too much, doctor.
Yes, that it's difficult to differentiate the apple from the orange, but there is no doubt that there is room for expertise and empathy. So, but unfortunately, I think the industry is becoming, and that look, a few years ago I was in Spain and I asked some of my friends in Spain about when this fragmentation started, and they told me that look, for every industry, that's the way it starts. Okay, and then after a while, there will be a sifting out. So, but right now, it's not unusual for you to hear patients picking up the phone and asking you for how much is IVF in your clinic. And that is the basis on which they want to determine where to go to. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. So a lot of when people, yeah, go on, please.
Sorry to cut you short there.
Yes.
Talking about the cost.
Yes.
I think I would probably want to let people be aware that when you're spending money, you can't quantify a baby with how much you have spent. You're investing into your future. So with that, I would rather, take a look at the way I want to go about my IVF than for me to just go and waste money. Because you might be wasting money if you're not looking at the right place.
Exactly.
You will be wasting a lot of money if you're not looking at the right place. And at the end of the day, it will now be about IVF is too expensive. IVF is too expensive. So I would tell people, invest your money where you think is right.
Exactly. You can't, I mean, I agree with you totally. Yes. And then some of the things again that we're seeing now is that people think, okay, you want to get pregnant, but you are not doing any part. Okay, you just think it's the doctor's thing to present yourself for IVF, and then you are smoking, you are drinking as if the world is going to end tomorrow. Sometimes couples are on hard drugs and they're doing IVF. These are some of the things which affect the success rate of IVF. And when you mention it to some people, it's like, oh, all I just want you to do for me is get me a baby. Unfortunately, the baby only comes from the raw materials that you give to us, which is sperm and egg. Do you understand? And so once
Sure.
the egg is drunk or the
Like,
sperm has been smoked out,
like
yeah,
you said, like you said, doctor, you're so right. Because lifestyle is very important.
exactly.
Lifestyle is very, very important. If you're not taking care of yourself as a woman, even as a man,
As a man, good.
you're not going to get the best out of anything.
Yeah. You
Tell
see some
people,
countries, good.
I can remember when like I mentioned earlier, I'm somebody that I really don't get hungry. I only have
Lucky you. Lucky you.
headache sickness to me that I'm hungry. So you know already I have a problem. I have a, I knew already I have a problem, but I try as much as possible, to make sure I eat healthy. I go even as far as doing acupuncture. I do yoga. I go about with dietitian to help me with what to eat, what not to eat. So if
Great.
you're really trying for something, it's more like you want to go and sit for an exam. You have to study.
Thank you.
And in as much as it is, science is really helping now. Another thing is God.
Oh, yes. Oh,
And
yes.
with Nordica, I had a faith, and Nordica was able to help me bring my faith to reality. That was what Nordica did for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, when I was coming to Nordica, I think I've had it. In fact, the last one I had before Nordica, I'm not going to lie to you. Before I started, I knew it wasn't going to work.
Hmm.
But this journey is the kind of journey that mess with your mental health. It would mess with your mental health because it's more like, I need a baby. I just need a baby. When you need a baby, you do all sorts. When I went into this hospital with the whole thing, I'm a very detailed person. I'm sorry to say, initially I look at aesthetics. When I
Yeah.
walk into an hospital, I want to feel safe. I want to know, the quality control. And when I walked into this hospital with everything, I wasn't so sure. My husband was a bit, but it will get to a point that, even when your husband is tired, anywhere you take him, he would follow because it was more like, this man, I need a baby. This year must not end without me holding another, negative test. But what I would implore to people watching us right now, especially people waiting, this is the time for you to look at because we're just starting 2026. This is still January.
Hmm.
And you're not going to be looking at your failed cycles because at the end of the day, it all depends on data. And what do I mean by data? It's more like garbage in, it will be garbage out, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if you're not taking care of yourself now, if you're not looking at the right place for you to have it done, I tell you, you wouldn't really be able to achieve what you want to achieve. And if your goal is having your baby year 2026, I would say you don't stop now. Leave your mental health, take care of it, take care of yourself. Try as much as possible to partner with the right place. You're
Hmm.
not just looking for a doctor now, you're looking for a partner that will be able to bring your reality to life.
Hmm.
So I would suggest to people in my shoes, going through 11 IVF, when I tell people, I'm like, I don't even think, as at the time I started, I thought it was just going to be, I'm going for IVF. I'm just going to have my baby. We have tried and tried and tried and tried before succumbing to this journey. And I can tell you now, I'm not only happy, I am excited. I'm excited. It's more like I don't even have any problem in the world. I know life, life continues in the sense that you can't stop anything happening because we are not God. But at this moment, I'm enjoying my peace. I'm enjoying what God has given to me. And I'm telling people out there listening to us, IVF is working when you're at the right place. People will tell you, oh, I've had it 1, 2, 3, 4, and you want to stop. Every journey is unique. My journey will quite be different from yours. I've had people that have had it done once and it clicked. There's the possibility maybe they had it well done at the right place. Maybe their lifestyle was really good. So that's the reason why we're quite different as an individual. So I would suggest that before you invest in IVF, look at the right place and take care of yourself.
Thank you. That's the best thing. You just said it the very right way, because there is also a topic, how to choose an IVF clinic. It's a whole topic, what to look out for. But, in Nigeria, we're very price sensitive. But I think we're drifting only to IVF patients, because some people will say, okay, what about if I'm not doing IVF? Okay, you want to conceive naturally. Okay. So I think also, whether you are conceiving naturally or you are doing IVF, lifestyle is important. Actually, the moment you decided you want to have a baby, you must pause. No, I have patients, okay, who have done IVF. Okay, there is one I can remember very well. She did an IVF cycle. The cycle was very poor. Young lady, she was about 30 then. She very poor egg quality. So the mother followed her for the failed cycle review, because she didn't tell us that she was smoking. So the mother knew, probably she knew about that smoking affects IVF. So she came with that. And so when she saw the doctor, she said, did she tell you that she smokes? And you know what? That was the only thing she changed. Because this time, we now agreed that we were not going to touch her for 3 months. She was going to stop smoking. And the mother was monitoring her. The next cycle, it was as if he was not the same person. Produced good eggs, and she had a baby. So these things are important. In some countries, when your BMI is above 30, they won't even touch you. Okay, they'll tell you to go and lose weight. In Nigeria, you see somebody whose BMI is 42 wanting to do IVF. That is severe obesity. It's going to affect the results. If you tell them to go and lose weight, you see she'll come back, even she will have added more weight. So it's tough, but these are the rules of the game. And if you want to play the game, you must abide with the rules.
Sure.
So these are things that we need to look at. And then other thing that we don't talk about so much is sleep. You say you do yoga, sleep also is important.
Very important, doctor. Very, very important.
Aha. So, and you see that many women don't sleep. I don't know why.
I'm actually one of them.
Aha.
I'm one of them. Part of the reason why I had to, invest in the things that will aid my sleep.
Relaxation. Exactly. That's right. So, yes. So, but when you have tried for 1 year, then if you are less than 35, then you should go for evaluation. This time is a gynecologist that you're seeing. Okay. If you are over 35, try for 6 months and you have not succeeded, then you must have an evaluation done. Now, some people, when I see patients and they say, have you been evaluated? I say, yes. And they said, there is no problem. And I say, okay, what did you do? Scan. They just did a scan and they said there is no problem. Okay. So in 2026, if you're going to be evaluated for infertility, then there are 4 tests minimum that you should do. These 4 tests show at least 85% of the problems. So The semen analysis, the man's semen must be tested. You must do a scan, just like many people do, but you must do a test for tuber patency, whether the tubes are open or not. And then you must do blood works to show whether your hormones are in the proper place, what we call the ovarian reserve. So this must be done for us to have proper, and once that is done, then we can be able to see what kind of treatment that is needed. Okay. And that helps a lot. No, by the time you were saying that, you have gone past that stage. So you have gone past that stage.
True, doctor. True.
Yes.
True.
So one of the things I want our listeners to know is that what they should be doing is the right assessment, not just assumptions. People come to us with a lot of assumptions.
True.
You know, yeah.
True, doctor.
Yeah, and then you must choose quality of you must choose quality over price.
Overprice. Overprice.
What I say to people, I say to people that the one thing I know, the cheapest can never be the best.
But even in anything in life, doctor.
Nothing in life. The cheapest can never be the best. But the most expensive might not be the best as well.
Another angle. Another angle.
So you must pay attention to details. And that's why I respect people who come to the clinic to find out what kind of, you said you pay attention to things. This is very, very important. See how the people, is there a clinic that they even have, there's some clinics, they don't even have standard operating procedure.
They don't even have the equipment.
Okay.
They don't have equipment. They how do I put it? I've seen a clinic where they don't even have a space for your hair within their facility.
No way.
Yeah, they do it elsewhere.
Yeah. So people need to know that IVF is just not that you enter. It's not malaria treatment, So you can't just come in and say, I just want to do IVF. Now, I'm also going to try to explain in the next couple of maybe 5 minutes what IVF is, because I've heard so many people. I think we are becoming more and more enlightened now anyway. But before, I've heard so many things about IVF, and people think maybe you have to be operated on, all kinds of things. Actually, I've had a very ridiculous one that somebody said he has a test tube where he puts the babies. A doctor.
A doctor?
Yeah. And some people were paying for it. Yeah. So IVF, you don't. Okay, I think somebody has I'll portrait and answer. Do you have age limits and BMI limits? Okay. Somebody has asked a question. Do we have age limit and BMI limits? Well, we have age limits, and because in Nigeria now, there's a voluntary association that we belong to that says that, yes, and what we agreed is that anybody above 52 should not be treated. But clinics still make their own laws about who to treat. But many people, nobody wants to treat anybody above 55 or 60. I think we've had some people saying 66-year-old getting pregnant. For me, it's not, these are ethical questions. It's not a matter of right or wrong.
Wrong.
Okay. It's a matter of ethics. What I tell people, because I've had a 70-year-old woman coming to us that she wanted treatment. And I asked her, okay, if we treated you and you have a baby now, who is going to look after that baby? Because even if you're alive, by the time you are 80 years old, the baby is 10, you can't run after that baby. Who is going to look after the baby? I think those are some of the things they say the right of the child. We need to look into. Yes. So for us, we don't treat anybody above 55. Whether you are using donor eggs or you are using your own eggs, we don't. So it's not that some people stretch it to 60, but it's okay. So, but BMI is not that there is there is a contraindication, but we know that the higher your BMI are over 30, the less the success rate, because there is a particular type of estrogen that the fat cells secrete. It's called the estrone, and the important one is estradiol that is important. So that hormone, that estrogen, your body feels that there is estrogen in the body, it's the wrong estrogen. So the egg produced will be poor, and the quantity also will be poor. So it's like you are shooting yourself in the foot when you are obese and you are doing IVF, because the production, the eggs, the quality of the eggs and the quantity of the eggs will not be great. Okay, how long should someone stay in Nigeria if they are coming from abroad to do IVF in Nigeria? Oh, this we do. I think now one of the things is that maybe about 25 to 30% of our patients now come from abroad. I don't know why. Maybe because it's cheaper in Nigeria. If you convert pounds to naira now, it's a bonanza.
It's a bonanza, doctor. It is.
Maybe also if they need donor eggs, the waiting time in the UK it's long. In Nigeria, it's easier. So there's so many reasons, but what we try to do is that we have a unit. I can't say precisely how long you are going to stay, because sometimes some people will need hysteroscopy before their treatment. So what they do is that this team will plan with you, and they will tell you exactly, depending on, because what we try to do is that your treatment is tailor-made for you.
For you, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is the key thing I really respect, Nordica.
Thank you. We've been at this for we're going to be 23 years in April. So I think so your treatment is tailor-made for you. So they'll tell you exactly, they'll plan with you, how your convenience. If you need to do hysteroscopy, maybe you do that first, or maybe they are so experienced, the team is so experienced in this that they will tell you how long you are going to stay in Nigeria. So, but for the IVF itself, the thing is that the drugs you have to, because for you to do IVF, it means that you have to be stimulated to produce more than one egg. So that involves use of drugs. Okay, somebody is asking, can someone check if tubes are blocked via hysteroscopy? It's possible, but you can only check. It's not a way of checking for blocked tubes, because you can only check the part of the tube.
Let me come in there, doctor.
Yeah, sure.
I want to answer to that question.
Yes.
Talking about the hysteroscopy.
Yes.
Sometimes, initially, really, I thought it was just for them to just check maybe my bloods were, But at the end of the day, in as much as I've had it done a couple of times, they got to know that I had an uterine septum, which I've never heard of. I imagine I kept having the failed ones, and nobody was able to pick it then. It was the hysteroscopy that was able to bring out the uterine septum, and we had it done. It got reset, and everything was fine. So it's not just about just checking whether the tubes. Sometimes even people could be fine. You would think, I had a friend that I even thought maybe she wasn't going to have a child. He didn't even take her any IVF.
Yeah.
He didn't take her any IVF.
Yeah.
So it's all about an individual. That's the reason why, the IVF journey is not just tailored to one person. It has to be tailored to you. We are quite unique. So if an IVF is being done like just in a generalized way, we're going to be having a lot of failures, which I think a lot of hospitals are not aware of right now. But if an IVF, if your own care is tailored to your own needs, meaning if you're being checked properly as to why, because when I came to Nordica, it was about digging into why you've been having a failed one previously. Why? would you be having up to this amount of failed cycle? Then we need to check. Even in as much I was trying to let the doctor be aware, oh, you were going to do this test. She said, no, we have to do our own test on you for us to be sure and know where exactly the problem is.
Well, I must give it to you. You know, sometimes patients are not so cooperative when it comes to this. They say, oh, I have my test results. Okay. As doctors, I'm not going to tell you that I'm not relying on your test results. Okay. But I'll tell you that it's preferable that we do our own. Okay. And then some people will say, oh, no, it's because you guys want to get money. You just want to collect money from me. But what we tell them is that, look, if the results that we're going to use, you see, no matter how good the embryos are, if the uterus is not comfortable for implantation, it's no work done.
Yeah.
So exactly. So it's important that everything must be looked at, because when you have done everything, still you cannot guarantee 100%. So if you now don't do everything properly, then it's like no work done. But many patients will argue and argue and argue about this. But most of the time, we stand our ground and say, look, we want to have this test done. And sometimes we see something that was not seen before. And sometimes what I say to people is that it's just like somebody was saying that a doctor made him to go and do MRI, and the MRI was negative. I said, but that's good. But you now know that you don't have anything. I mean, it's you, you know?
Yeah.
So it's not, don't look at it from the point of view, because everything we look at from the point of view of money. Oh, it made me to waste money. No, it didn't make you to waste money. It made you to look at yourself and see that you're good. And then from there we can start. I don't know this question. Doctor, do you do, I'm sure, stem treatment? This must be stem cells treatment. I don't know what that is. Stem cells. Stem cells are still experimental things, but anything that is we cannot really is not past. We don't really want to dabble into it yet. There's still a lot of work going into that, but over time, maybe it will become mainstream treatment, and then we'll be able to do that. Another question: do you advise IUI if one tube is blocked? Well, if one tube is blocked, we usually do not advise IUI, because if you do IUI and you get pregnant in that tube, that's going to be an ectopic pregnancy, you know. So we usually want, because we cannot determine where you are going to ovulate from, and therefore, if you ovulate in that tube and then you get pregnant in that tube, there could be an ectopic pregnancy. But we usually prefer that your two tubes are open. Actually, because a lot of people also, this is another problem. A lot of people do IUI when it is not indicated. Okay. Because for you to do IUI, the sperm parameters must be good. You know, I see people doing IUI for very bad sperm parameters. The tubes must be open also for you to do IUI. So that's why we say in Nigeria that IUI, the use of IUI, because our commonest problems in Nigeria for the woman is blocked tubes. For the man, a low sperm count. The two of them don't answer to IUI. So IVF is usually what to do for them. And of course, there are so many spin-offs from IVF. Yes, so just maybe we just talk a little bit before we end this program. Unfortunately, we started late to talk about definitely my fault, to talk about egg freezing, because that is also one thing that some people might need to prepare for in this year 2026. Because if the right is not available yet,
and you can't keep waiting.
You can't keep waiting. So egg freezing is something, again, that some women we have to plan for this year. For you to do egg freezing, you are doing IVF. The only difference is that we cannot fertilize because there is no sperm yet. So, but we can store the eggs
for you when you're ready.
Till when you are ready. And we can store indefinitely. There is no time span to how long we can store, you know. So we can store the eggs. And the good thing is that if you store your eggs at 30 and you come back in 10 years, your eggs are still 30 years old.
Yeah, and you can still have your baby.
You can still have your baby. So the what we talk about clicking the ovarian, the biological clock, ticking away, does not apply to you because it's like you have arrested the biological clock by storing your eggs. And but two things I want people who are also thinking of storing their eggs to know that the success rate depends on the age at which you froze. Because
Yeah,
we are seeing a lot of 40, actually 42, 46 trying to store their eggs. It's really and truly, it's
it's
academic. It's just academic. Because to start with, you are not likely to get enough eggs to store. The quality of the eggs that you are storing is
might not
not
be enough.
is not good. So and we also tell people that the fact that you have stored your eggs is not a guarantee that you have a baby.
Yeah,
So, but if you store enough eggs, and what we recommend is 15 to 20, so you might need more than one cycle to store matured eggs, then that gives you a good probability of getting a baby from the eggs you store. Because I spoke to some people and they said they store eggs in Paris and they store 4 eggs. Hey, come on. It's just not enough. So if you are planning to have a baby this year, this program is for you. And we're going to actually look over all the questions, and try to answer all of them. And then we hope that this year, 2026, will be a good year for each and every one of us. I don't want to keep you waiting for too long again. Do you have any word that you want to leave with our viewers?
yes, sure. Well, to anyone waiting and still trying, I will tell you, you don't look at the numbers. Don't look at the failed cycles. Look at the fact that 2026 could be your year of achieving your baby when you start early and you start right. Starting
Mm.
right is not just about you looking for a doctor. It's about you. I would rather suggest you look into where to invest your money rightly. Look at the right clinic, look at your lifestyle, and leave everything to God.
Wow. Wow. You said it all. You said it all. So, yeah, maybe I just say that. I'll just say it in other words. All that you have said is what I'm going to say again. One thing is that knowledge is power. You know, one thing that happened to you, you said before you even came to us, the only
Yeah.
thing you could not do was do ovum pickup or egg pickup and the transfer. So you knew everything about IVF. All
Everything,
right. So
everything.
that is great. Many of our patients don't know anything about IVF. And once you don't know anything, anybody can take you for a ride. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. So knowledge is power. That's what I tell people. You need to know. You must understand what the problem you are dealing with is, and you must know the solution for it, even if you cannot do it yourself. Do you understand? So when somebody is trying to take you on a long thing, as we say in Nigeria, you can say, no, hold on, hold on. This is not the way, you know. So expertise also is crucial. That's what I would say again in the treatment of infertility. And finally, I would say you have said it also. Getting emotional support is not a sign of weakness. People think if you talk to couples and you say you need to see the counselor, they know, doctor, I don't need a counselor. Oh, come on, you do. You are human. Sometimes we say, okay, we have a psychologist as well that sometimes we can say, talk to the psychologist. People think, are you saying that I'm mad? Nobody is saying you're mad. No. But this infertility is one of the most difficult things that couples go through. For some couples, it breaks them. But for a few people, it makes them. And we want as many as possible of our patients that rather than breaking, it makes them. So anything that you need in order that you will not be broken, it's what you should get. And but sometimes these people talk to people who are not now even qualified. I'm not going to talk about that. They talk to people who are not qualified. I mean, come on. I say to people that, look, the person you are talking to, is he trained to do this? Has he experienced this? At least he does not have any of the two qualifications. So why are you talking to this person? I don't know, but it is what it is. We cannot we can only do the best that we can do. But I think on this note, yes, there are some questions that I'm going to answer offline. How can you handle DNA fragmentation? Yes. Can I get pregnant naturally after IVF? Yes. Depends on what was the cause of why you had your IVF done but not everybody, but some people have reported pregnancy naturally after IVF. But yeah, we answer that later on. So I think I'm going to, all that is left for me. So thank you profusely for taking time out to be with us today and for sharing your story.
Thank you so much.
I am so happy and I feel so blessed that you are able to share your story with our audience. So thank you so much, and to thank our audience, all the people who joined us, that yes, 2026 is a year that the good Lord will answer all our prayers, and including our baby prayers. So on this note, I just say thank you to everybody and see you some other time. And you just take care of your baby and your husband for us.
Thank you so much, sir.
All right then. Cheers.
I'm grateful.
Bye-bye. I know. Yeah. Bye.